It all began on a bright June morning in New York City, the kind of morning where the sunlight bounces off glass towers and the city feels alive with endless possibility. The air was thick with anticipation, as if the city itself knew something was about to change. The city was humming with its usual energy, people rushing to work, horns blaring, and the constant buzz of conversation echoing between the buildings. Every corner seemed to pulse with life, a reminder of the millions of stories unfolding at once. Taxis honked impatiently, weaving through traffic. Street vendors called out, their voices rising above the crowd, offering bagels and coffee to hurried commuters. Beneath my feet, the subway rumbled, a hidden river of movement carrying dreams and ambitions through the city's veins. I stood in the heart of Manhattan, my bags packed and my heart pounding with a mix of excitement and a touch of fear. The city had been my home, my playground, and my teacher, but now it was time to step into the unknown. I was leaving behind the city's endless possibilities, trading skyscrapers for open highways and familiar faces for the promise of new adventures. The decision felt monumental, like turning the page on a beloved chapter. My car was loaded with maps, snacks, and a carefully curated playlist for the open road. Every item packed was a piece of comfort, a reminder of home, and a token of hope for the journey ahead. Saying goodbye was harder than I thought, the skyline shrinking in my rearview mirror, the Statue of Liberty standing tall as if waving farewell. Each mile put more distance between me and the city that had shaped me. The city's noise faded slowly, replaced by the gentle hush of green landscapes as I crossed into New Jersey and Pennsylvania. The world outside my window transformed, trading concrete for trees and steel for open sky. Skyscrapers gave way to rolling hills and dense forests. The air grew cleaner, scented with earth, wildflowers, and the promise of summer. I felt lighter, as if each breath carried away a little more of the city's weight. The open road stretched before me, a ribbon of freedom and promise winding into the unknown. Every mile was a new beginning, every exit a chance for discovery. There was no schedule, no meetings, just the thrill of adventure and the joy of not knowing what lay around the next bend. The world felt wide open, full of possibility. I rolled down the windows, let the warm summer air rush in, and turned up the music. The rhythm of the road and the melody of my favorite songs became the soundtrack to my new beginning. With every passing mile, the city faded into memory, and the journey truly began. A leap into the unknown, fueled by hope, curiosity, and the promise of adventure. My first major stop was Pittsburgh, the Steel City, a place where the echoes of industry still hum beneath the surface, and the skyline rises proudly above the confluence of three mighty rivers. As I approached, the city's energy was palpable, a blend of history and hope. Yellow bridges arched gracefully over the rivers, each one a tribute to the city's industrial past and its enduring spirit. These bridges, iconic and bold, connect neighborhoods and people, weaving together the fabric of Pittsburgh's identity. I rode the historic Duquesne Incline up Mount Washington, the wooden car rattling as it climbed. At the top, I was greeted by a breathtaking panorama. The city, rivers, and the golden triangle of downtown all spread out below, shimmering in the afternoon light. Standing at the overlook, I felt wonderfully small in the grand scheme of things. The vastness of the city, the winding rivers, and the endless sky above reminded me of how much there is to discover. But what stood out most were the people, friendly, down to earth, and fiercely proud of their city's transformation. Their warmth was immediate, their stories rich with resilience and hope. Over coffee in a cozy neighborhood cafe, the owner shared stories of Pittsburgh's journey from the days of roaring steel mills to its new life as a hub of technology, education, and the arts. She spoke of challenges faced and overcome and the sense of community that binds the city together. The riverfront, once lined with smoke-belching factories, was now transformed into parks and trails filled with families, joggers, and cyclists. Laughter echoed where machines once roared, and green spaces invited everyone to enjoy the city's natural beauty. Pittsburgh showed me that true strength is about resilience and the courage to change. The city's spirit is woven from the determination of its people and the willingness to reinvent itself time and again. Everywhere I looked, the city honored its past while embracing the future. Old steel mills converted into vibrant spaces, historic buildings standing proudly beside sleek new architecture. As I left, I felt richer for the experience, inspired by Pittsburgh's tough yet gentle spirit, and grateful for the stories and smiles I'd encountered along the way. My journey was just beginning, but Pittsburgh had already left a lasting mark on my heart. the open road called me onward, promising new adventures and stories yet to be discovered. As I drove across the vast open Midwest, the landscape gradually flattened, and the distant silhouette of Chicago began to rise on the horizon. The anticipation built with every mile, the city's iconic skyline promising adventure and discovery. When I finally arrived, I was greeted by a refreshing, cool breeze rolling in from the endless expanse of Lake Michigan. The air carried a hint of possibility, and the lakeside was alive with people savoring the wind and the water's gentle rhythm. From the shore, the city's skyline rose majestically, a breathtaking blend of art, history, and modern architecture. Towers of glass and steel shimmered in the sunlight, reflecting both the city's ambition and its creative spirit. Millennium Park buzzed with energy and creativity. At its heart, Cloud Gate, affectionately known as the Bean, mirrored the city's ever-changing face, curving the skyline and the crowds into playful, dreamlike reflections. Tourists and locals mingled, laughter and music filling the air. I wandered along the lakefront trail, mesmerized by the striking contrast between the bustling urban skyline and the endless tranquil blue of the lake. Joggers, cyclists, and families passed by, all drawn to this unique meeting point of city and nature. In Chicago, I found the best of both worlds: vibrant city excitement and the calming embrace of nature. Parks and green spaces offered a peaceful escape just steps from the city's lively streets, making it easy to find balance and inspiration. As evening fell, the city's deep love for the blues drew me into a small, dimly lit club. The music was raw and soulful, telling stories of hope, struggle, and resilience that echoed through the city's history. The passion in every note was palpable. Musicians poured their hearts into each song, and the crowd responded with knowing smiles and swaying bodies. In that moment, I felt connected to Chicago's rich cultural soul. Chicago wasn't just a city of tall buildings and beautiful views. It pulsed with creativity, art, and music at every turn. Colorful murals brightened neighborhoods, and the city spirit was alive in every corner, from bustling streets to quiet galleries. As I stood gazing at the skyline one last time, I realized Chicago had captured a piece of my heart. Its energy, diversity, and warmth left a lasting impression. With a sense of gratitude, I returned to the open road. The city faded in my rearview mirror, but its memories traveled with me as my adventure pressed westward. The journey continued, full of promise and new horizons. Leaving Chicago, I joined the legendary Route 66, the Mother Road. The narrow, winding road felt like a journey through time, lined with vintage gas stations, neon-lit motels, and quirky roadside attractions. A classic diner stop brought thick milkshakes and stories from a family-run business. The landscape shifted from Midwest green to open, expansive plains. The sky grew vast, the road solitary, a meditative experience. Route 66 taught me to savor the journey, not just the destination. Every small town and friendly wave became part of the adventure. It was a slower, more deliberate way to travel, encouraging connection and curiosity. The Mother Road nurtured my traveler's spirit. I learned to slow down and appreciate each moment. The adventure deepened with every mile. Route 66 led me to St. Louis, Missouri, on the banks of the Mississippi. The Gateway Arch soared above the city, a shimmering symbol of America's westward dreams. Standing beneath it, I felt connected to generations of pioneers. A tram ride to the top offered breathtaking views of the city and the river stretching into the west. In the Soulard neighborhood, red brick houses and blues music filled the air. The historic Soulard Farmers Market buzzed with life, colors, and flavors. St. Louis felt like a crossroads, Midwest industry, Southern soul, and Western spirit blending together. The city honored its past while pulsing with present-day energy. Crossing the Mississippi, I felt the true beginning of the American West. The arch had inspired me to keep moving forward. The open spaces ahead called to my sense of adventure. I pressed on, eager for what lay beyond. The journey west continued. The plains of Oklahoma opened up before me, endless sky-tall grasses and grazing cattle. This was cowboy country, where tradition and independence run deep. In Oklahoma City, the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum brought the real West to life, art artifacts and stories of resilience. A small-town diner stop led to a conversation with a rancher, his weathered hands and kind eyes telling stories of a life on the land. The connection was genuine, more valuable than any landmark. Oklahoma's quiet strength and sense of community left a lasting impression. Here, a handshake still means something. The cowboy spirit is about integrity and a bond with the earth. I carried the memory of that endless sky and the rancher's wisdom as I continued west. The road stretched on, full of promise. Entering New Mexico felt like crossing into another world. High desert adobe buildings and brilliant blue skies. Santa Fe's historic plaza and winding streets revealed art galleries, boutiques, and hidden courtyards at every turn. The city's creative spirit was everywhere, from Native American pottery to silver and turquoise jewelry. The Loretto Chapel's miraculous spiral staircase embodied Santa Fe's blend of faith, art, and mystery. The city's cuisine, spicy red and green chilies, delighted my senses. Santa Fe nourished my soul with its beauty, warmth, and creativity. Every moment felt infused with magic and history. I left feeling refreshed and inspired. The desert called me onward. My spirit was ready for the next adventure. Deeper into Arizona's desert, red rocks and towering cacti filled the horizon. As the sun set, the landscape glowed with fiery colors and long shadows. I camped under the stars, far from city lights. Night brought a silence so profound it felt sacred. The sky exploded with stars, the Milky Way a glittering river overhead. Lying on a blanket, I felt small and awed by the universe. Worries faded, replaced by wonder and humility. The desert's beauty was wild and spiritual, a lesson in perspective. That night taught me the value of silence and the magic of disconnecting. Dawn broke softly over the desert, filling me with peace. The experience prepared me for the journey's final chapter. My heart was full, anticipation building. The Grand Canyon awaited. The final drive to the Grand Canyon was filled with anticipation. Standing on the south rim, the canyon's vastness took my breath away. Layers of red, orange, and purple stretched to the horizon, carved by the Colorado River over eons. Silence enveloped me, a sacred, humbling quiet. I walked the rim, each viewpoint revealing new wonders. The shifting light painted the canyon in ever-changing colors. I reflected on my journey, from New York's bustle to this majestic silence. As the sun set, the canyon blazed with gold and crimson. It was the most beautiful sunset I'd ever seen, a perfect end to my adventure. The Grand Canyon was more than a destination. It was a spiritual experience. Gratitude filled me for the beauty of the world and the journey I'd taken. I hope you too will answer the call of the open road. Your own adventure is waiting.